This is the rant. Check, before you watch, check the time. If this goes over 10 minutes, then don't watch because there's going to be a lot of, jumping around. It's just a rant. It's a story. There's no funny ending. It's just a rant. And it has to do with sprinklers and hoses. The lawns look good this year. We've had a lot of good rain, so through spring and summer. And towards the end of August, a week or two ago, I noticed a brown spot in the front yard. And so, okay, so it needs to be watered. Fine. Now in the backyard, well, that's a whole other thing. The backyard, there's a stretch of area. That's actually back over here, actually. I'll do a cut in. There's a stretch of area. It's behind the kitchen that I never had grass for years. The grass wouldn't grow. It doesn't get light, as you can see. It doesn't get light. So I lived without grass, and that was fine. And then one day I decided I should maybe try and put grass there. So I put sod down 4 or 5 years ago, and for a month it looked really good. I have grass back there now in this one area, and then I didn't water it properly, and so it died. So the next year I thought, let's try this again. Let's do the sod thing again. So I resodded maybe 60-70% of that, just that one area, small area behind the kitchen, the backyard. And this time I watered it, and it looked good. So I've had two good years now that it looks good. It looks good. In fact, the last time Melissa was here with the COVID, we were in the backyard here on the deck. Ask her about this. I went on and on. Someone's got a saw. I went on and on about that small stretch of backyard. I hate when the noises start. That's another rant. You finally get a nice day. You open up the back door, leave the screen, and it's just let the nice air in. And someone revs up the saw, or the leaf blower, or the lawnmower. It's enough already. Anyway, did I tell you there's going to be tangents? Okay, so anyway, this area in the back also needs to be watered, I guess is the point when you want to get down to it. So, okay, so I have 2 areas to water. So what we do is we get the sprinkler. Now, I tend to buy sprinklers every year because they break every year. And I've had all kinds. I buy them all. The kind that just go shh, this kind, and the I've had them all. I've used them all. You can spend $40-50 on a sprinkler. I tend not to get. Is that the saw? Yeah. I tend not to spend tons of money, so maybe you get what you pay for. So I get the sprinkler out. The latest one I had, it was actually a pretty good one, pretty expensive one. But what happens is over time, the water doesn't come out through all the holes, just some of the holes. So instead of you get like this, it's watering sort of this way, and of course the area that you want watered. That's going to drive me crazy. The saw doesn't pick up because So I make a note in the back of my mind. Next time I'm out, pick up another sprinkler because you buy a sprinkler every year. That's what you do when you have a yard. The other thing was the hoses. Now there's 2 basic types of hoses: the regular hose that you've seen for years, and they've got these new things out, which I call them the retractable hoses. They're actually very cool. Instead of having to lumber and get the hose in, it collapses. It's collapsible. It's easy. They're a little more expensive, but they're more user friendly. So what I've been doing towards the end of August is watering in the back. I have one hose. I have 2 of those collapsible. They're screwed together, so that's like one hose, which I need for the front yard because it's longer. And I thought I had another hose somewhere, but I don't. So I just have this one hose. And in the backyard, have I lost you? Are you still with? In the backyard, I just have a simple sprinkler. It's just a piece of plastic that has these different configurations, but it's such a small area that just using this small plastic, I'll put a picture up, sprinkler, it just set it down and it's fine. But the only issue is that I have this one hose that I have to move. So that's what I've been doing for the last week or so. Is that I water the back at night, and then I have to unscrew it in the hose and bring the hose out front to use the other sprinkler. That's what I've been doing, and it's a pain to run the hose back and forth. And I figure, I'm a man of means. I can afford a new sprinkler. So, back in my mind, in addition to getting a new sprinkler, get a new hose. Last Thursday, I decided I'm going to go out and go to Home Depot. Oh, by the way, I have an update. Remember the walking story? I have to walk 8 minutes to get to the the nature center to shoot the butterflies. So Thursday, I'm going to shoot at a garden, which is right next to a Home Depot. So I thought I would stop off at the butterflies. So I'm driving there. It's sort of on the way. So I'm gonna time it, see how long it takes. And it's only a couple of miles, but it took almost 6 minutes. It took me 8 minutes to walk, 6 minutes to drive. So it made me feel better about walking because I'm only saving 2 minutes and I'm not driving. So anyway, so I get to the Home Depot. This isn't my Home Depot, the one in Springfield. This is up in Annandale. So I see they have the old kind of hoses, the usual kind of hoses. I don't see the kind that I'm looking for, the collapsible ones. So I see someone, I ask somebody, someone who works there, and I get, me no speak English. I don't work in this. Fine, not a problem. I eventually found what I was looking for. Now they have sort of the basic usual type. I only need like a 10-foot section because the faucet in the backyard is right next to the area that needs to be watered. So a regular piece of hose, 10 feet, it's like $15, $16. Or I could get the kind that I want, the cool kind, the collapsible kind. It's 30. I don't need 30 feet, and it's $30. But I figure I'm a man of means. I can afford it, so I'll spring. I'll spring for the fancy because I like those kind. And I also get a sprinkler that kind of goes, this kind. Okay, so I get this all back. So I take the sprinkler out front. The issue with the sprinkler is that it's got 4 settings, okay? But the issue is it doesn't tell you which setting you're on, okay? Like in my camera, to screw in the lens, the white dots have to align, and that's how you know. That's how you put on the lens. Here, there's 4 choices of settings, but you don't know. So you put one on, but you don't know what it is because there's no indicator that says, okay, you line it up with this thing and you're on this setting. It doesn't tell you. So it's trial and error. But I gotta say, I didn't spring for the most expensive sprinkler. I actually kind of love the new sprinkler, and of course I'll get another one next year because the whole purpose is. Okay, so the other thing is if you remember, in the backyard, I had the cheap sprinkler, but with the collapsible hose, worked fine. There was a setting I could just put it on, and it just worked fine. It's such a small area that I put it on and it works fine. Okay, so now I've got the brand new hose, same type as the one I was using, the collapsible hose. Hook it into the same sprinkler I was using in the backyard, and I get no pressure. When I say no, I mean I get little pressure. The setting I was using, I couldn't use because it was I crank up I turn it all the way on. There's virtually nothing's coming out. So I found a setting I could use. It's like a shower almost. The water just comes up, comes down, but it only does an area like 4 foot by 4 foot. So it's okay, but I set it and then I have to sprinkle for it. Then I have to move it. The question is that I have this. I'm reminded of the Bellagio Hotel in Las Vegas. They've got those fountains, the synchronized, the water comes. It's beautiful. And here, I've got no pressure from the stupid. It's always something. And that's why this is the rant. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to check the new hose, the brand new $30 collapsible hose, if there's some kind of obstruction. It did come with a little nozzle on the front that said, if you have a regular hose handle, if you have your own nozzle, unscrew this one and use your own, which is what I did because I have my own, or I was using the sprinkler. So I took off the nozzle that came with it, but what's the obstruction? Some kind of super. Why am I getting no water pressure from the brand new $30 hose? That's all. That's just a rant. Okay, so I just checked out the new hose, and there is no obstruction. The water's flowing pretty well through it. I just don't know why with using the new hose and the old sprinkler, there's very little pressure. But it's always something. And if it's not one thing, it's another. And that's why it's enough already.